So we're here with Mike. He's a 2-year-old. He's about 15 hands. He's a good, big, strong colt. He was born in May. Right now, it is going to be October. I will probably be planning on starting him and putting maybe 10 rides on him. And then he gets to be a horse over the winter. I'm not on anybody's timetable except the horses. And I think getting them started as 2 is good. It gets their mind right, it gets some foundation laid, but I sure don't need to wear him out. As a 2-year-old, I see too many horses, frankly, in the Western performance horse industry, whose lifespan is the equivalent of that of a racehorse. You know, by age 6 or 7, they may be done. Well, I'll accept the fact that mine may just be getting started, and I'm gonna be behind and be behind and be behind, and then about the time I start catching up, those other guys are all done because they wore the horse out. So it's a matter of choice, and I'd make that choice for myself and for my horse. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna just revisit a little bit of groundwork. Now there's much more detail on this in a couple of videos. We've got a playlist on groundwork. You can look at it on our channel. The stripped down groundwork is the basics. We also have one dealing with preparation for a first ride or evaluating for a first ride, and then breaking up some brace I saw in him. I don't do a huge amount of groundwork, just enough that I feel comfortable and safe that when I get on them, they're gonna have some foundation. So what I'll do first off is I want him to move off a feel. I want to be able to just, and see he's very sluggish right now, because we did do another thing with him and he's kind of laid back. So you can see he's kind of the walking dead, but you can wake him up. The one thing I've noticed with this colt is there's a lot more horse there than what may initially meet the eye. So I'm gonna wake him up and I'm gonna move his shoulder over, move his hip over. Say, wake up, soften up, get out of the way. That's the basic of everything I do with groundwork, is they gotta be soft through the rib cage. And if you watch the other videos, you'll see it was a long time till I sent this colt around me. I don't think a whole lot is accomplished by mindless circles. What I'd like to think is that when I pick up and ask them to trot, they're going to be soft and respectful. Now this is the way he had a pretty big brace, and we've worked on some things to take that out of him. Go on. So I'm going to ask him to stop, move his hindquarters over, stand there a second, and go on through. Want to make sure he feels the same way going to the right. You may notice there is a muck bucket in here. That's going to play a part in this process because my wheels are a little bent and I can't climb on a horse as nicely as I used to. And while I step on my horse all the time, they have to be a little tolerant, and I can't really expect a colt to be that tolerant. So I want to make sure that he will allow me to use a mounting block or a muck bucket in this case. So move him up to a little trot. And oddly enough, this is the way he was softer before. And because I over accentuated the other way a little, he's actually pulling for the outside a bit. So I'm going to say, keep your head in, move your body out, move your body out. Give me a little arc. And that's better. I'm going to stop him, Let him yield. You want that yield on there. And check my halter, which on the other side was getting a little close to his eye. Maybe the rare time when I let it out just a little. I'll take him back to the left. And this time I'm going to change directions, but not yield him. I'm going to ask him to turn and get away. See, and that scares him a little. That's good. That's good for him to learn. You got to have that on-off switch. Let him settle down. I'm making a mental note that this halter could fit him better. I'll probably use a different one the next time I work him. If you look at his right side, it wants to get a little too close to his eye. And I may still have it set a little small for him. Step up. Better. Didn't get rattled that time. That will actually soften them up because you're taking them through. You're taking them through on a bend and leaving, getting relief. Step over. Now, one thing you won't see me do is you won't see me lope him. It's a pretty short rope. I don't really lope my young horses on a line. Some people do. Some very good people do a lot of loping on a line. Guy McLean, who's a master at starting colts, immediately gets them loping on a relatively short line, and it really works for him. See, he blew through me? Bad timing on my part. We both did better that time. So that's what Guy does. He likes to lope them on a line, and he gets them loping pretty nice and collected. I think it's a little tough on their legs, and maybe I'm not quite good enough to get it done smoothly. So he's a little leaky toward me, but he's okay. We're going to be okay here. Now, this is where the mounting block becomes a useful thing. You see, he's been working. But now he's not. Now he's relaxing. Good place to let him relax. And you want to make sure, if you're going to use this thing to get on him, you want to be pretty sure that you can kick it around, maybe kick it under his belly, whatever, and not get too much reaction. And I'll do that several times with him, but right now I just want him to think of that as being a good place to be. Because you see people making a real big deal about getting their horses going up to a fence or a mounting block, and I'll be honest, I don't generally have much trouble with it, so I'm going to get up on here because I want him to know what it's like to have me at a higher level. And I'll do my best not to wobble and fall off here. He says, "What's this show me your back stuff?" I understand. I understand there, buddy. That's not really how we do it. There, I gotta get me a bigger mountain block if I'm gonna do this. But see, he's learning to deal with this, and I'm letting him come in. And then when I want him, I say, "You want that rest? Come on in here." And I got him in a place where I could get on him. And I just want to get him used to having me above him, because guess where I'm going to be when I get on his back, or when somebody gets on his back, because that's still the question, is am I going to start him, or is somebody else going to do it for me? So I just want him to move his feet the exact amount I ask him to move them, And you might say, well, you didn't do anything. Well, it was what happened before what happened that mattered. I did a lot with him that made it easy to put his feet where you wanted and made it easy to keep his feet where you wanted. And all that simple groundwork that I do is paying off now. And I'll do that on both sides so that he's equally accustomed to having me on either side. Although personally, I just about always mount from the left. It's just, I'm too ingrained, I'm too awkward to get on well from the right. A lot of people do, and it's a good idea. So I'll get him used to having me over there, but I probably won't climb on him. I also will probably wait till he's saddled to get on him. Some people lay all over him. I used to do that. No reason why I wouldn't, except I just figure that's one more chance they could jump out from underneath me, which is something I'm trying to avoid. So that's a little bit of basic groundwork that worked okay. And I'm fine with that. I'd probably go on and say, you know, how are you going to be if I ride you probably in a hackamore, maybe a halter? Can you give me your face? Can you bend around? Can you bend around? Yeah, and that's not too bad. And I'm not being too demanding on him. There. He's also got an itch. He gets the itch because he was pointed the right direction when he itched. I'll take it. Then you go over to the other side. See how he bumped into me? I didn't get after him, but I made a mental note. I do know how to hold a grudge, and I don't like him bumping into me. Not a big grudge, but there, see? Now, why don't I bend him around to his belly? Well, I know that that's sort of popular, but how often do you need that? And what happens when you do too much of that is you can get their head to their belly, but then they twist it like that. And I don't know any maneuver that is improved by having your horse have his head twisted off to the side like that. So there you've got him. And if you wanted to, you could do a little bit of this. See, I didn't have to go behind him there. Turn and come on through. You can do that on both sides, of course. And if you were to go back to those original couple of videos we did, you would see that he has gotten a lot better about all of these things. Bending his head, tipping his nose, and doing this little maneuver. So those are things I would do to get my horse ready for that first ride, to get them to where they're soft, to get them to where you have control of their feet. And even though that mounting block thing was more about me having too many birthdays and wanting that to get on, it also got me up above him. I'll probably pony him a little more, but I've done that before. That got me up above him, so it's not suddenly a surprise when you're 8 feet tall. Well, I'm about 8 feet tall anyway, but say 10 feet tall. So that's what we're doing to get him ready in terms of groundwork. Now we're going to go on and make another segment soon that shows something I do to try to keep your horse from bucking the first time you saddle him. So hang around, look for that video. I'm not sure when we'll post it, but it's coming. Till then.